I can't think of another golf course that of this scale, kind of diminutive, but built to this higher quality. And I've racked my brains, I can't think of one. So you've got something here that no one else has.
Robin, great to see you. Can I just start by asking what you think sort of makes a good golf course?
I think memorability is the number one thing. I think for the layman who's not, a design nerd like me, I think you want people to remember the golf course, and I think that really comes from the architecture. And I think Grande Mare particularly is a memorable golf course. The proof will be in the pudding when people come here, but I think they will see it's full of character. And I try to give my golf courses out. I want every hole to kind of stand on its own and contribute in that regard.
Yeah. And what was the sort of design brief you were given, or sort of what were you asked to do by Steve particularly?
Well, particularly he wanted it to be longer.
Right.
He was very, very keen that we got some more length out of this, which is why he invested in the extra land where he could. We had to have a bit of a sort of taming his expectations of that. It's still quite a compact piece of ground. But then to make that golf course within that as strategic and as interesting and as challenging and as enjoyable as we could possibly make it. So there's a kind of course that people will want to play over and over again, because as you know, Guernsey, you don't have that much choice. So it's very important that what we provide here changes from day to day and is never repetitive.
I mean, you've worked sort of all over the world. Were there any unique challenges posed by the Grande Mare sort of plot?
I think that the drainage was the main thing. I mean, anyone who knows the geology of Guernsey will understand that this particular part is very low lying. It's basically a delta with lots of watercourses converging within the site here. All that water had to be managed and taken out to sea, and the high tide, the golf course is below that high tide level. So we inherited those issues and we have to deal with them, and we put a lot of engineering in place to help us manage that. That is of no interest to people playing the golf course, but it means that we can manage it when the instances of as we did in the winter, a very, very high spring tide following a very intense period of rainfall. This golf course is very vulnerable to that, and we can recover it very quickly now with the engineering we've put in place. That was the main challenge beyond the usual design things.
And for those golfers who have played here sort of regularly in the past before the redesign, I mean, will they notice anything similar? I suppose more than different.
Well, it's certainly a lot different. I think we've cleaned out an awful lot of trees and bushes from the old golf course. It was quite a crowded layout before. Quite a typical parkland course with narrow fairways and tree-lined fairways. So that's very different now. But I think there's enough familiarity to the site that they'll know where they are. They'll be able to orientate themselves, even though every single hole is a different number to how it was before. So the layout is completely new. It's essentially 16 of the 18 holes are versions of the holes that were here before. There's only 2 brand new holes, and only 2 holes have been removed entirely. So yeah, there's a lot of familiarity to the landscape, but the golf course within it is entirely new, every last bit.
Yeah, and I mean, you did have that bit more land to make the 2 new holes. Is that something as a designer you enjoy doing when it's like a blank canvas for you?
Indeed, yeah, it gives us the ability to kind of stretch our muscles a little bit with some new land, and it was also quite nice that there's a bit of elevation on that land, which allowed us to kind of put a bit more topography into those golf holes than on the flatter parts, which sit on top of peat, so we're kind of limited by what we can do here. So with that in place, it was an opportunity there to do 2 landmark golf holes for Grande Mare that are, good additions to the course, but they do fit in with the theme of the rest of the course. I don't think people will notice that they're on new land. It kind of blends in nicely.
Yeah. And do you personally have any sort of favourite holes that you've worked on here?
Several, actually. The first hole is one of, I think it might be my favourite hole here. That doesn't mean to say it kind of tails off after the first, but it's the way that first hole is set up really sets the agenda and the theme for the golf course. It really invites you to take it on, but in order to do that, you've got to take on the hazards that we put in place, and it also invites you to play safely and away from those hazards, to the compromise of having a more difficult second shot. And that is really the the essence of strategic golf architecture.
Yeah.
And that first hole, I think, exemplifies that perfectly, and it's also just beautiful.
Certainly, from the holes I've seen this morning, there's obviously options sort of on every hole for the golfer, probably depending on their ability and what have you. Is that something sort of that you put into your designs?
Very much so. It's crucial, I think, for a golf course to have that variety and flexibility, not just for the ability of the golfer, but also how you're feeling on the day, perhaps, or the weather. I mean, we're very exposed to the wind here, so the golf course had to be scaled to take that into account. I mean, for example, the 18th hole, as we have now, originally there was a lake to the right of the 18th green, and I was out here one day, in the planning of the golf course, and the wind was howling from left to right, prevailing wind, and I thought, balls are just going to be sailing into that lake all day long. So I cancelled it, thinking this, it might look fabulous, but it's just going to be a downer at the end of the round if people are just being punished. So we got rid of that and changed it. And so, yes, there's a lot of flexibility in here. Most particularly, you'll see that in the greens. The design of the greens, I think, is something I like to do, is kind of subdivide greens into little pockets, so that the holes can go into these little pockets, and it changes completely the strategic challenge of a hole from one day to the next. And that, again, is all part of making sure that repeat play here is always different. The challenge is always fresh.
Yeah. And if for any golfer turning up here on the first tee for the first time, is there any sort of one piece of advice you would give them?
Engage your brain. First and foremost, you might want to pull the head cover off your driver, because that's what you do. But you'll find here that that's not going to be an automatic choice. I mean, this golf course will give up some very low scores. It's just designed for that. But it's got teeth, and it won't take lightly to being taken advantage of or liberties being taken. So just engage your brain, look at what you're hitting into, and think about it. Look where the hole location is for the day. That's really going to influence what you want to do.
Yeah. And how do you feel the new Grand Mare compares to sort of other courses you've seen around the world? And, I mean, the aim, I think, was to be a world-class facility. Is that what you think has been achieved?
I think this place is unique, and I don't say that lightly. I can't think of another golf course of this scale, and kind of diminutive, but built to this higher quality. And I've racked my brains, I can't think of one. So you've got something here that no one else has. It's basically a championship golf course, but scaled down. And it's got the same shot values and the same challenges, but it isn't of a length that's going to make people overwhelmed. So that's what really pleases me about this, is that it's a very inclusive design. I think everyone can tackle this. Yeah.
I get the feeling just about the whole place, and about Mr. Lansdowne as well, that we could see some top quality golfers coming to enjoy this in perhaps big tournaments.
Yeah, I think so too. I think certainly, the Pro-Ams, I think you'll get some really good names coming in for Pro-Ams here, and that'll be a great thing to be part of. I think he's got ambitions in those fields. So I think once the clubhouse is ready and he's able to host people to the quality he wants to show them, then I think we shall see events come to Le Grand Mare that it hasn't had before.
And as you were telling us earlier, it's been like a 7-year project for you.
Yes.
How does it actually feel now that you're going to have people coming out and playing your course?
Well, it's what we do it for. It's like making a movie. You have the premiere to look forward to, and that's what we're kind of coming towards now. And it's the culmination of a lot of effort from a lot of people over a lot of time, and a lot of investment from Mr. Lansdowne. And so it's very rewarding, very gratifying to have got to this point, and for particularly the green staff here at Le Grand Mare to have really invested in the golf course and the design I laid down, and to have taken it on in such a way that they're presenting it to a world-class standard. And I think everyone who comes here will see it for what it is, and that is it's a world-class golf course.
That's great, Robin. Thank you, and congratulations on what you've produced here.
Thank you. I hope it's not too long before you get a chance to hit it around.
I hope so. Thanks.